My name is Sue King, and I'm a textile artist from Lancaster, Ohio. My work is on exhibition at the Martin de Porres Center in Columbus, Ohio, and the name of the exhibition is Geography, Exploring the Physical World and the Human Experience. I've had the good fortune to come from a family with a long line of creativity and artists. We have woodworkers, painters, sculptors, and my son's a graphic designer. I became interested in textiles as a small child when my mother used to embroider and made all my own clothes. And she was very smart in the fact that she would not allow me to sew on the sewing machine until I had taken home economics lessons. By the time that I was in 7th grade, I was just chomping at the bit to sew, and I've really never stopped since that time. Around the time of the American Bicentennial in the late 70s, I began my quilting life. I started out making quilts and pillows for other people, and especially for my 2 babies when they came along. And I worked at the Slate Run Historical Farm for quite some time and was in charge of their quilting program, basically doing reproduction of existing American quilts. I took about a 20-year hiatus to go back to school and return to work. And during that time, the quilting world had changed dramatically. There were new techniques, new tools to use, and the birth of the art quilt was in full bloom. And I just couldn't go back to doing traditional work, so I started making what are now considered art quilts. In other words, quilts that are meant to be exhibited on the wall or never were meant to grace anyone's bed. The work currently on exhibition does explore the physical world and the human experience. And this piece is entitled Shiraz. It's one of my earlier pieces, and it is an exploration of nature, which is how I started in this work. I have quite an interest in camping and hiking and exploring, and this piece is made from a grapevine that grew in my backyard. It's considered a sun print. And you can see I'm not afraid of color. I've also done some free motion stitchery and some beading in this area of the quilt. And it's basically a free form pattern. All of this work is my own design. I love to travel, and several years ago I had the fortune to go to Italy. And it was just such a creative experience for me that I could not sleep the whole time I was there, just picturing quilts in my mind. And I finally had to make a list of all the quilts that I wanted to do while I was gone. And when I came home, I had about a 5-month period where all I could do was make quilts. This is a piece I made in a series called Toscana, and it is the countryside of Tuscany. In the piece, you can see a small hill town and some of the poplar trees. And in the piece, you'll notice that there are fields of vineyards and also olive trees. And I also used a lot of bright colors, which I noticed there are a lot of sunshine, the terracotta, and the pottery, and the beautiful colors in the fields. In the last few years, I've had a transition in my quilting from places to focusing on people. And probably this began several years ago. In 2000, I graduated from Ohio Dominican University with a degree in social work. And I currently work in community mental health as a therapist and the director of a mental health center. I focus on treating people that have endured some type of trauma. And I basically, up until the recent period, have used quilts as a way to escape from some of this rather depressing and sad part of human nature. It's just been recently that I've decided to focus more on the human body and the human experience, and to use my quilts as a way to focus on how people have endured and survived traumatic experiences. Instead of focusing on current people that I'm working with, which I would not be permitted to do, I still keep some distance, and that I've used a lot of historical figures. I'm very curious about people, how they have survived and how they have overcome adversity. So this is the first one in a series of portrait quilts that I've been doing. It's called Trouble in These Fields, and it's from a book of photographs taken during the Great Depression in Ohio. And this is a gentleman that is a farmer. He's probably doing a little bit better than most people were at that time. However, you can just see the look in his eyes that indicates the kind of life that he's having, and somehow he is managing to go on and take care of his family. So the current work that I'm doing right now continues along this vein. As my art career continues, I've tried to find a place in the world and find my own style. As you may have noticed, the pieces here represent several different styles. What I'd like to focus on, again, is the human experience and continue this exploration of human behavior and the human spiritual life. The work that I'm beginning now is a series of military quilts that represent the experience of American soldiers from the time of the Civil War up to the present time, and explores how they have been able to sacrifice and endure difficult times. My name is Sue King. My textile work is on exhibition at the Martin DePora Center in Columbus, Ohio. The title of the show is Geography, Exploring the Physical World and the Human Experience. The show runs from May 7th to June 30th, and I hope you have time to stop by and visit the quilts. Thank you so much.